Yes, good evening. This is, I mean, we're still waiting for other people to join in. I'm also still waiting for our guests, the two guests speakers to join in also. But then this is for those who are probably going to be listening to the recorded session. This is the first edition of so many other episodes to come. And, this is from creation to global stage. This is Uvera Distro. For those who probably are not familiar with Uvera Distro, we are a distribution company, proudly African. One of our motivations is that Africans have we own the infrastructure with which, our music is distributed globally. And that is to enable us be able to properly, segregate or, put our genres in place. Cause, good evening, LMC. Thank you so much for joining in. Imagine, the number of genres of music that we have in Africa. And imagine all of this collapsed. We're talking about hundreds of genres, if not thousands. And then all of this collapsed under Afro beats. And this happens when the infrastructure that is used to, distribute our music globally is not owned by Africans. They don't even understand, they don't understand Fuji, iLife. It sounds the same to them. They don't know the difference. They don't know the beauty of, the sounds. And this is, aside the other beautiful things that it takes, if our infrastructure is owned by Africans. For instance, we're talking about how taxes are laid on creators, slow responses. We're talking about, a lot of other issues, challenges that most African creators have. This is one of the things that, Uvera is trying to curb. And that was why, we could have been a white label distro, but then we decided to create our own infrastructure. So you're talking about a distro company that owns its own infrastructure so much that you could even track your revenue from the site itself. You can't do that from with most distros. Good evening, Mr. Oyindamola. That's one of our guest speakers in the house. My name is Ola Oluwasanmi, and aside being your host this evening, it's a privilege to also be the marketing and communication lead for Ubera Distro. And like I said, this is, one of the so many other episodes that will be coming to you from Ibera Distro on Twitter. Please, our hosts, please help us send a request to Mr. Oyindamola. Good evening, Amaka. Good evening, Mr. Wale Ozola. That's the other guest speaker. And before, I'll bring my guest on to speak to you guys, I'd like to say a bit of a thing. I was chatting with somebody, I think it was 2 days ago. So pardon my voice, please. It's been like stressful 2 days. So you could be hearing some crack in my voice. So just pardon, my voice. Um, I was chatting with somebody recently, and the person was talking about how there is so much weight that comes upon, Nigerian music and then music industry and then musicians, because now that our sound is globalized and these global companies are coming in, we don't have the infrastructure it takes to be able to build our ecosystem such that it looks as though presently now that we don't even have an industry, because almost everybody, the moment you have a song that is trendy, you're probably traveling outside the country to go, to go promote, and then and to a level, a lot of them would then stay back over there. They would not even come back home. And then sometimes when they're trying to then charge, the promoters in Nigeria, they charge them in dollars so much that it's a weight on the system itself. And these are things that I want to talk about. This is beginning to now affect an average creator, the young creators, is affecting them so much that, the price that we shoot videos before is like times 4, if not times 10 now, So it's becoming a weight. And that's why I'm bringing like the two heavyweights to talk about this very topic, from creation to global stage. And it's so funny that you could drop a song now, because of how the whole world is now focused on the Nigerian music and our sound. Somebody could go global within a space of a second. Wizard Chan is a good example. He said his song was already trending on TikTok and he didn't even know who uploaded the song. And he had to just shoot a video and then quickly start to shoot a video and then start promoting, and then drop on DSP and then start promoting the song himself. And that's how easy it is to be globalized now. But it comes with a lot of pros and cons, and these are the things that we're going to be talking about this evening. So please, okay, let me invite Mr. Onyida and Mr. Wale as well to speak. But like I said, if you're an African creator now, there are a lot of things that you have to learn. Before, when it was just Nigeria, you had to deal with, Nigerian label, Nigerian market. You had to deal with, Nigerian taxes and all of those, our laws and all that. But now that it's globalized, there is a need for you to have like a clear understanding of what you're diving into before you even, you even engage anything that has to be a contract before you sign anything. There's a need for you to have, to have knowledge. And beyond that, also, you have to have right team around you. You have to have, a good lawyer who has an understanding of the, in Nigeria, the law in Lagos is a bit different from the law in Ondo State. So if you understand that, interstate, the laws could be different. Now that you're talking about international, the laws and, the knowledge is a bit different. It might look the same, but, to a tiny bit, there are tweaks and all that. So, but then, I mean, that was why I brought my guest speakers to speak about these things. So, first off, I'll start with Mr. Wale Uzola. Please introduce yourself and then tell us, your opinion about, the globalized Nigerian industry in about a minute.
Hi everyone, and good evening. I don't know if you can hear me.
Yes, we can clear, loud
Oh,
and clear.
fantastic, beautiful. All right, so my name is Wale, and I work with AudioMac Africa. I am the content operations and artist services manager for AudioMac in Africa. Um, Afrobeat as a globalized sound, Afrobeat to the world, Afro Connect, Afrobeat the future. We've heard all of these catchphrases, and it's a beautiful thing to see, especially when you consider where we have come from as a continent when it comes to um, music creation and music consumption. I mean, we've gone from the era of consuming music through CDs, vinyl records, and all of that, to downloading music for free, and now streaming music on our mobile phones, on our laptops, and the whole works, and what have you. But my concern, and that has also paved the way for, job creation, and it has led to what I would call a certain level of structure in the music ecosystem for Africa, especially for Nigeria. Some people will say, "Oh, there's no structure. There's no structure." If there was no structure, we wouldn't be having this conversation. I don't know if you get where I'm coming from. If there was no structure, we won't be having this conversation. If there was no structure, there won't be conversations on how to go viral on TikTok, or how to manage publishing, or how to get sync licensing deals, or even how to manage a record deal, or what we don't understand, or how to manage an advance from a distro or a record deal. But that's not why we're here. That's a different kettle of fish. The main, for me, my personal opinion is this: as much as we've seen a huge and consistently growing ecosystem within the Nigerian music space, I know I've told Ola this thing at some time on the last time we hung out together. There is still an obvious and very increasingly widening, increasing gap in the knowledge space when it comes to music in Nigeria and the African ecosystem. It is a source of worry. As much as we say, "Oh, let's get to the global stage. Let's make let's make African music, or as we call it, Afro sounds in audio mark. Let's make it a global thing and all of that." Yes, that is awesome. It is beautiful to see, songs that have crossed over to global stages like the O2 Arena in the UK, Madison Square Garden. It's beautiful to see, you know, artists doing collaborations with other artists across Africa and Europe and the United States. It's beautiful to see. I mean, we've seen this even before streaming came fully on board in Nigeria, but there is still that knowledge gap, and it is a huge problem. And until we fill that gap to a certain extent, I assure you we will come back and have this conversation again before the end of the year, next year, 2 years, and in 5 years' time. It's beautiful to see people take up roles in record labels as A&R executives, producers, and all what's not. But if there is no proper knowledge gain or acquisition of knowledge on the business aspect of music creation, we'll just keep going round and round. That's my own 10 cents. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Wale. I mean, ever since I've known you and then we've had, time to talk about the music industry, you've always been passionate about, the knowledge gap and how we have to equip ourselves, with enough knowledge to be able to sustain the growth, that we have. Thank you so much. Mr. Oyindamola, sorry, before I allow Mr. Oyinda to speak, for those who are probably joining in for the first time, welcome to Uvera Distro space. This is Uvera Distro is a distribution company that has the capacity to help you distribute your song to about 150 stores globally. And aside that, we own our infrastructure. I'm so proud of that, so much that I think this is like the fourth or fifth time I'm saying this, because there's so much restrictions you get when you distribute with a white label distro. And this is not to talk down on anybody, but like I said, one of our motivation is to see African own our infrastructure. That's where we're in control of the narrative, unlike when you're having somebody in Europe, distributes an African sound, and they just categorize all of these sound under Afro beats. It kills the beauty and the history of the sound itself. And this is just one of the many, many things, the challenges that we have when we have other people tell our stories for us. So like I said, Uvera Distro has the capacity to help you distribute your song. And beyond that, one of the things that I'm proud of, like I said, is that on the site, on Uvera's site, you could track your revenue, real time. All right. So that being said, my name is Ola Oluwasanmi, and I'm your host. And beyond that, also, I have the pleasure to be the marketing and communication lead for Uvera Distro. And so you're welcome. And shout out to Talents, to Nelson, to Remile Kung, to Zurich Music, legend, that's Mr. Abraham, Benjamin, Qualo, LMC, Jerry, Tab, and every other person that I probably did not mention. But shout out to you. Thank you so much for joining us. All right, so Mr. Oyindamola, please tell us your name, what you do, and then a bit about the globalized music industry, Nigerian music industry.
Okay, good evening, guys. Can you hear me, please?
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay, great. So first thing first, I'm driving. So once in a while, if any Maruwa wants to misbehave, I might talk somehow. So just pardon me. We're in Lagos. So yeah, good evening, everyone. My name is Olukanni. Shout out to you, Wale. That's my Oga Patapata, man. Whatever I say is fine now. So thank you also, Ola, for bringing this space to life through Ivera. Thank you, Ivera. All, Ola said it in the introduction already. Wale said it already. I love the topic, from creation to global stage. I would rather term it from scratch to where we are right now. From scratch, from way back, way back. It's been over 70 years of music in Nigeria. Nigeria is not up to 70, but it's been over 70 years of music data, collecting data for music in Nigeria. So many things has happened. What we are currently enjoying now, we've enjoyed it in the past from the fathers of music, I'm talking about King Sunny Ade, uh, nomination for Grammy, Fela Kuti, them, Ayuba going to, being signed to Sony, all these guys doing wonderful on big stage and all that. Shout out to all of them. Then we had the very long break of, when there was war and everything changed. Then came the era of the cassettes, the CDs, the downloads, illegal downloads, the Alaba era before the illegal downloads, everything like that. We've come a long way. And right now, we are talking even on the space of Yivera. Yivera is a Nigerian owned company, Nigerian owned distro that are proud to say that they are just directs. Yeah, they're not going through a third party and the likes like that. So it's been a huge success for the Nigerian music and all that. However, we still have a lot of challenges. We have a lot of challenges, but I would not really want us to dwell on the challenges. I want us to first hail ourselves because we don't try. Yeah, we don't try, and we know what the economy is saying because we can't really do much without the economy. Without the economy, if the economy is not buoyant, we can't really do much. And you can see that also when it comes to our subscription base, when it comes to revenue generated from this part of the world. You know that it's really nothing to write home about when you have 5 million streams and all everything is coming from Nigeria. You can ask Yevera, maybe na 5,000 naira you go carry go house that following month. Just kidding, anyways. But is that bad? So, I mean, that's what economy is doing to what we are currently saying right now. But I mean, from the start to where we are right now, we are on the big stage doing things. I mean, easily we have collaborations with anybody in the world, any artist in the world. We can collaborate with anybody. Chris Brown don't turn Niger already. Anybody can just reach out to Chris Brown and do a collaboration. It was not like that before. I mean, we've come a long way. There's still so many things that we need to do. We still do not have the infrastructure, the proper infrastructure when it comes to concerts. That is a major thing for me. And why it is a major thing is because I am in charge of two artists and I'm pushing them to start concerts. And I know the stress that we go through when we have to go and pay for an event hall, and we'll be the one to now get all the speakers, set everything. That is expensive on its own. We are talking about using, for one of the clients, we are talking about using Moriokunola later in the year, and production cost alone is about 50 million naira. How do we want to do it? Okunola is only 2,005 to 3,000 capacity. Production cost will be 50,000, 50 million naira, and you still have to bring in your own security and everything. I mean, this madness is crazy, but we will get there. We are here. So let's start. Let's discuss. This is going to be a very interesting one. Thank you, guys. And sorry, I'm driving.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Oyinda. So one thing that both of you guys said is the fact that we've come a long way, and as much as it seems as though there's no structure, there's still structure because somehow we've been able to get it right. Amongst every other, I feel like compared to Ghana, compared to South Africa and a couple of other, African countries, which seems to be way ahead. Our artistry, our artists, the way we project ourselves, which will bring me to the first question. And I want Mr. Wale to please answer this question. What do you think really separates an average Nigerian creator from the other people? I mean, to some extent, people would say, oh, they have, better singers in maybe some other countries compared to the likes of like the big three that we have. I mean, I was in South Africa sometimes ago and somebody was telling me that Wizkid is not really a singer, that they have better singers. So, which, boils down to the fact that talent only probably might not really play the major part. It might be the foundation, but what do you think has been the key drive for an African? What separates an African or a Nigerian creator, I mean to say, from the other African creator?
It's the hustle.
Yeah,
The hustle.
I like that.
It's the hustle. Let me give you an example, very primary example. Yeah, an artist who lives in, say, Egbeda has maybe two or three of his guys as as part of his team, and he has put out a song, and somehow the song has crossed into some major streaming milestones, and it is getting picked up by maybe one or two or three radio stations in Accra in Ghana, or maybe in Nairobi, or even Dar es Salaam in Tanzania. And this artist is like, Omo, my song they pop for for Ghana, people they stream am more, and he looks at the back end and he's like, the bulk of the streams is coming from maybe somewhere in Accra, and the demographic details for that particular stream is maybe say the people who stream the song are between the ages of 15 and 21, so they probably represent a young what's it called demography, and they are all either secondary or just freshers in secondary school students or freshers in university. The Nigerian artist will hustle, put everything he can muster in terms of funds, and find his way to Accra to go and connect with either a promoter or a DJ or a club owner or even a radio presenter in Accra. He probably would have sent multiple DMs, and then one or two people respond. I'm like, yeah, yo, I've been playing your song, and we love your song. We can do an interview. And the guy is like, you know what? I'm planning to come to Accra. Can I come through? And the Nigerian artist, finds his way either by bus, or if he can afford it, he flies, through a local airline, and he lands in Accra, and he's going straight to do that interview. I haven't yet seen, or it has just started happening, but for other, and this is not to shade any other artists from outside Nigeria, but that drive and that hustle, or as we say in our local parlance here in Nigeria, that ginger to want to go to where the market is. Do you get what I mean? To want to go to where the market is.
Yeah.
Other artists don't do that. But you see the average Nigerian artist, he will go to where the market is and say, yo, my name is artist Fagbo Wale or artist XYZ. And now my song when they play for a radio station. I'm the one that created the song. Na me be this. That is what this is my personal opinion. Yes, you might say, oh, South Africans have fantastic vocalists and all of that. You mentioned something Soweto, you mentioned Musa Keys, you mentioned Simi, there are loads of them. But as much as there's that hustle or that ginger to want to go to where their audience is, the only crowd that I have seen do it and always tries to do it, now we get them. I'm not saying other artists from other countries in Africa don't do it, but the wanting to put the effort into it and make it happen, it's in Nigeria. That's what separates us.
I agree with you. And I
Please,
think when you,
before you continue, please, Ola, before you continue, I
yeah,
want to say something on that, on what Wale
yeah, go
was
on.
saying. A practical example is that Yemi Alade. When Yemi Alade started with the manager, I've forgotten the guy's name now.
But that's Taye Aliu.
Taye Aliu, thank you so much. God bless you, brother. Whenever they hear that your song is playing in Ghana, these guys will go to Ghana. Taye Aliu will enter bus, all of them. Yemi Alade, if they get any small hotel, Yemi Alade will sleep on the bed, Taye Aliu will sleep on the floor. They will go and do interview in Ghana, go to radios in Ghana. Just do something, just to make sure that we hear say you they play our songs, we are here. So that also is different, is in our DNA, is what we do. And we do it easily, seamlessly. I'm sorry I'm using Ghana. I've stayed in Ghana for a while. They are very relaxed, so you can't compare us. While we also, they don't see it as stress. I mean, why are you doing all these things? But more, we know where we they come from. We know say to eat gone now also for their country, then they get like they get everything. We don't have light here, so you have to also to buy petrol. So we are already our brain is working more than any other person. So yeah, thank you, Wale, for that one. Is the also man. Respect.
And I totally agree with both of you. And I think every time we talk about the hustle, we need to also point out something that makes the hustle different. Everybody is trying to hustle, but the level of risk, that we take is like on a different level. For instance, like what Mr. Oyinda just said, that somebody would leave Nigeria, probably go to Ghana. It's because they don't have enough resources. That's why they have to book an hotel. One person will sleep on the bed. The other person will sleep on the floor. If they had enough, they won't have to share a room. But then they would take that risk and then put that money. For instance, the first, concert that the likes of maybe like Davido and Whiskey did, they probably did with their money. They had to put in the money, maybe like O2 concert and all of those other concerts. They had to put in their own money, and they are not even sure if the money is coming back. But they felt, oh, I think I have enough, enough crowd to be able to fill up this place. And then they would go. I think the likes of Burna Boy, what they are doing, the reason why it's the first, of its kind is because people would not be able to take that risk. I mean, you have to look into your purse and say, okay, can I afford this and all that? And the more you do that, the harder it is for you to take risk. And, just like what Mr. Wale said, you could even see that hustling spirit in our creators. I was asking myself, why did Sabinus go to, I think, was it Uganda? What was he doing there? And it was shocking that he had crowd, he had fans, he had people loving him over there. And I think that separates us. I totally agree with you guys. Thank you so much for that. And Mr. Onyida, I want to ask this question. And I'm using Wizard Chan as a clear example. He said, he was at a point in his life when things were really tough, and he probably could not even afford to like properly feed himself. I think he said his rent was about to expire, and he doesn't even know exactly what he's going to do. And somebody told him that his song is trending on TikTok, and he was like, "Are you for real?" I didn't even post that song, which is Earth song, I think, and that's excuse me, that song was already picking up momentum on TikTok. He then said, okay, he had to claim the song. He shot a video and did that. That is how fast it is to globalize a song. You record a song today, you just post a snippet of it on TikTok and then it's going viral. And how do you think that, emerging artists can, you know, prepare for, like, anticipate this sort of chances, this, because that's what happens when you talk about a globalized sound. It means everybody's looking forward to that market, creating sound and creating music or creating content, and then it's easier for the algorithm to pick that sound, especially when you have like good search, and take it globally. Now, how do emerging artists prepare for this moment? I mean, you don't know if it's coming, but how do you anticipate for it?
Okay,
Oyinda, before you
so
answer, Oyinda, no vex.
okay,
Pardon me,
okay.
Mabino, before you answer, I
Yeah,
just want to say
yeah, Wale.
something real quick, and this is coming from my experience as before I joined Dojumak, I was with 1 RPM, a distro. I am disappointed that an artist does not know that a snippet of their song has been auto uploaded on TikTok. Because I know for a fact that distros like Ivera, 1 RPM, and Co., when they distribute your song across all digital platforms, your song goes on TikTok. It also goes on Instagram. I will not say anything further. Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you again for that, Wale.
thank
I mean,
you.
that was just forward. So, the next thing I want to say is, as an artist, if you have decided to be an artist, then you should be prepared for anything. If you have decided to be an artist, you should be prepared for anything. One, let me tell you, that song on your project that you think will not blow, or might not blow. Do you understand? It's a song that you do not really feel that will now blow. If that one now happens, what will now happen? Will you now say that you won't put money? You won't work on that? So first, as an artist, you need to open your mind, be ready, be prepared that whatever happens, you are going in and you are going to put in your work. Now, the second one is that you must be ready to put in the work. It is hard work. Being an artist is hard work. Now, being an emerging artist is even an harder work. It's a harder work being an emerging artist because now you go to direct yourself, now you go to produce yourself, now you go to market yourself. You are the one to, I mean, do everything for yourself. Sometimes you have to use Canva to produce your own artwork because you do not have the money. But once you have the chances like that, that is why you have so many tools. You have so many tools that can help. Tools can help you to the extent that you can even have a prompt. You type in something onto maybe Grok or onto Meta AI, and it can give you caption, different types of caption to use. You can put in a prompt in AI, whatever AI you are using, and it can give you a video of, and you can have an idea of what to do. So you should be ready. And I know you guys, you have data. You should use your phone wisely. Use your internet wisely. I beg. What you need to do, like Wale said, the first thing is the education part. You need to be able to learn, you need to be able to study, because you don't have the money to recruit the people that you need to do these things for you. So everything is still on you, and possibly one or two guys that believes in you. But if nobody believes in you, just be ready to put in the work, so that when these chances come, and let me tell you one thing about chances like this: once they come, people are saying it. Your distro is saying it. That distro that you think no send you, once chances like this come, they will be the first one to reach out to you to say, how much something is up, let's see what we can do together. Before you know it, somebody will reach out to you from the US, from wherever, and say they want to give you marketing budget. But you need to be ready. And once you get all these things, please don't just squander them. Don't go to clubs, partying, smoking, and all that. Please. I know I say this a lot because I've seen a lot. I've seen a lot. You guys, once you have small change like this, you forget that you're an artist, that you were hustling before. You just go and blow it. You have so many things to do. You have so many things to do. You have people to bring in on board that will make your business make sense. And also, in trying to bring people on board, trying to make sure that they are teachable. Not the people will be say they will just come, they scatter everything. Sorry, I'm getting a bit passionate. Anyways, the question. So you must be ready. You must know that anything can happen at any time. For you to be an artist, you should be ready. Ready for anything. You must always, you must live prepared. You must live prepared. This thing might not happen in 10 years, it might just happen one day. And if it catches you off guard, then that is gone. That opportunity is gone for life. Do you understand? So yeah, just get prepared. Know what you want to do and apply pressure everywhere. Apply pressure. Thanks.
Thank you so much. That's a wonderful answer. And what you said, what you said just now, that if it catches you off guard and you don't make the most of the opportunity, that the chance don't go. And that's true, because the way the minds of humans work is that when they get familiar with something, you have to do like times three of what enabled them to recognize you to further convince them to follow you. So the way it works is this: if you have a trending song and people don't hear that trending song and you don't go and they don't forget you, they don't come see you but like 2 3 years, 4 years thereabouts before you would come back, and then it would not just be song, it would not just be a song that would convince them. It had to be series of moves. They have to be able to see some things that they didn't expect, because as long as what you're doing is what they can imagine or expect, bros, me, you can't move them. They can't be excited enough to be able to promote you. And I've seen this happen to most artists. I don't want to call names now, but there was somebody who was trending. His song was trending the same time Oma Babalowo's song, Emma Damiduro, OBO song, Emma Damiduro was trending. And I was in Beat FM then, that day, and then I saw like a list of 10 songs that had to be played, and OBO song was number one, his song was number two. And he didn't make the most of that opportunity. And I've seen that guy for about 10 years plus now drop songs. He's even featured the video in one of those songs. It's just dropped songs, dropped EP, dropped an album, and he's never been able to get that amount of wave. It's not that he's not, he's not, what's the word now? It's not that he's not talented. It's not that he's not putting in the work. It's just that when that window opens, he didn't make the most of it. You'd see Burna Boy when the whole Coachella, when he called himself an African giant, what he did was he rode, on that wave, and that makes the difference. That was what created the next wave of the Burna Boy that we're seeing now, because he rode on the momentum, and everything was history after then. He dropped an album, dropped the second album, won Grammy, and now he's an African giant for real. So, you just have to understand how to maximize those opportunities, those momentums, especially when you have the attention of the whole media. So thank you so much, Mr. Oyindamola. So for those who probably, if you're on the space and you want to maybe contribute, you want to ask a question, please feel free to request for the mic, and then it will be our player to allow you share your opinion. Once again, this is Uvera Distro Space. My name is Ola Oluwasanmi. I'm your host, and I have with me Mr. Wale Ozolua, from AudioMark. It's a privilege to have him, and also Mr. Oyindamola, who is, amongst other things, the catalog manager for Timi Dakolo. And it's a pleasure to have both of them sharing depth of knowledge with us this evening. Mr. Wale, please, this other question, might be a bit tricky. Um, I've always understand that you can't talk about international without talking about local. What you call a local artist just means, how to deal with a base, a culture, a tradition that you were familiar with while you were young, and what we've learned now, so what happened globally when, the sound went global was that now we are able to bring international culture into what we do now. And, going by the fact that that was what we grew up seeing, we grew up seeing the likes of, Michael Jackson and all these other guys, R. Kelly. Those are the people that we talk about oftentimes. And that means that is easily what we're going to identify with. Don't you think now that we're globalized that very soon the Afrobeat sound might lose uh, its genuineness? I'm not just talking about the Afrobeat sound. I'm talking about our indigenous genres. The Fuji, the high life, and all. Don't you think it could lose its genuineness and indeed, its originality? Now that we have a globalized market.
No, we won't. And I say this with every sense of responsibility, because for if you look at how streaming has shaped and allowed music coming out of Africa to evolve, you'd agree with me that things have actually taken a turn where we've seen even pure sounds coming from Sierra Leone, from Ghana, from Kenya, being fused with pop, being fused with electronic music, being fused with other forms of music from across the world, and still retaining that Afro-ness or that Afrocentric sound. It is still there, from the drums to the guitar. I mean, if we were going to lose, quote unquote, that authentic African sound, legends like Malian singer Salif Keita won't be dropping an album even in 2020 2025. He just dropped, an album, and it's still it's popping. Do you get? If Salif Keita can still be dropping an album in 2025, what's stopping, King Sonny Ade from doing the same if he's healthy and strong enough to do it? If Burna Boy can be sampling songs, sounds from hip hop and R&B artists from the US, and fusing it with African sound and still retain that authenticity, I'm telling you, it won't change. If Rema can wake up one morning and say, I'm going to sample Shadi Adu's sound, if Ira Star can say, okay, I'm going to do an interpolation with Awilo Longoba's, classic tune, and it's still there, what it is doing is not changing or reducing the authentic vibe that we've come to know as Afrobeats from across Africa. What it is doing is exposing our culture, our sound, our language, our food, our identity, our ideology to people who are not totally aware of what we represent as a people and as a continent. So will the sound evolve? Yes. It might get some one or two, changes in melody, changes in production, changes even in writing, lyrics and everything. But you see that authentic African sound, it would remain the way it is. Because if it was going to change, the legends that we know, legend like Fela Kuti, would not be influenced from sound coming from Ghana. The legend like Fela Kuti would not be influenced by sounds coming from, let me see, a high life legend that I grew up listening to, E.T. Mensah from Ghana. Or is it Geraldo Pino from Sierra Leone? all of these people, even before Fela caught on the Afrobeat vibe, these guys have been making massive music that have consistently been exported to other countries and has exposed African music to the Western world. Would it change? Would it lose its authenticity? No. It will only grow. But then the only challenge that I see that will reduce what's it called? How we monetize and do business is that knowledge gap. That's just it.
Solid answer. Excuse me, solid answer.
Thank you.
And to further buttress what you said, when people are coming out to say, "Oh, Burna Boy is doing what Burna Boy is doing," nobody has ever done it before. Shut down big stadiums. It's the
People don't
knowledge gap
drop
that you're
go
talking
off.
about. Exactly. You have the likes of, I mean, I had a privilege to listen to Ayuba talk about his whole Fuji tour and all that. And I was asking myself, where's all this knowledge? How do we, if this knowledge is not told by these legends themselves, how do we, that's the work of the media. That's why we should have journalists. You have the likes of, for instance, King Sunny Ade, who was signed to, I think, was it Interscope or what's the name of that label? Pardon me. He was traveling out. He was in major movies. He was on major platform. He was signed. I think. The thing is this, which I feel like a lot of the time we ignore. A lot of people believe it's always about just making music and just doing your own beat and then moving on. We don't understand that, what you call a legacy is supposed to form like a foundation, sort of, that other people can build on. When you see the likes of Said Osupa talk about Fuji and give respect to the likes of Secret and the Barista, it was because they were aware enough that this person played a major role, and that's how you keep, your legendary status. That's how you keep it. If you're able to tell the story to, coming generation, by the time they're building, you'd probably be in the conversation. And going to Mr. Oyinda now, I want to ask this question: how do you think that we can start to, include this knowledge? I mean, everybody's been talking about, the knowledge gap, the knowledge gap. How do you think we would be able to start including this knowledge into what we do? I mean, shout out to Godwin Tom, for what he's doing with MBA. And I'd realized now that, MBA is become like a yardstick through which people are employed in the industry, which is a good thing. How do we think we start to include, this knowledge? How do we start to bridge this knowledge gap?
Okay, so all thanks to Godwin Tom for what he's doing on a larger scale. He's doing it on a larger scale. So I think everybody can just start. Everybody. So I've always said this thing whenever I have the opportunity to speak to artists like this. If you want to become a doctor, you have to go to school and you go to medical school. You want to become a lawyer, you go to school and you go to law school. You want to even become an accountant, you go to school and you still have your chartered, your ICANN and everything. But you just wake up. You decide that God has given you voice and you want to be an artist and you think that is all that is to it. No, there's the education part, and that's where you make the money. Like I tell some of my clients, see, you are fantastic when it comes to holding the mic, but you are nonsense. You are nothing when it comes to the business part. So let the person that knows about the business knowledge, and do the business part. Now, everybody and anybody can start that. Government, the government won't do it. We don't have any music school in Nigeria as it is. But what I can tell you is that if you know that you know anything about the music business, just start something. Just start a community. I mean, I started something last time. I called them private chat session with Oyinda. Every month we meet, we discuss this music thing. So anybody, anywhere can start something as long as it is music. And also, as an artist, Google should be your friend. Google, ask questions, put whatever you want into Google. Google will respond. Learn, sit down, leave movie, leave smoke, sit down, study. If you think you have issue, put it on Google first. If Google is too hard for you to do, you have WhatsApp, put it on Meta AI to give you some sort of direction. Do you understand? So this education thing It's not a one-way thing because government won't do anything about it. Not for now. Government has so many things to do. They have plenty issues to tackle. Some of you don't even get light for house now. So government won't even think about lecturing you about music. They really do not care. So use your Google, or if you see anybody that is talking, that is discussing anything on music, just join, learn, ask questions, ask your guys. I mean, it's as simple as that. And anybody can be a music. Yes, again, because the time is doing something, everybody is now a music exec. God help us. So, yeah, that's it.
Yeah, shout out to you. Thank you so much for that. And from what both of you said, I mean, when Wale was talking about how we can keep the the originality of the sound, he was talking about almost everybody he mentioned were those on the mainstream. And what Mr. Oyinda also was talking about, how just about anybody who is probably passionate enough could start, a bit of something. But it would be that, which I mean boils down to the fact that the unknown is on us as individuals, as part of the culture, part of the industry, in whatever form that you would start. You can start even if it's what if what you're passionate about is collating data, then you could start doing that for the culture, because one time at some point they you would see the usefulness of the little time that you put into some of these efforts. I was talking to somebody recently, and he said that so the guy now works with MTV Base, and he told me that they when he wanted to go for the interview, it was Mr. Oyinda's book that he picked and then he read. Who could have thought that the book that I wrote a couple of years ago would then help somebody get a job at NTV Base? And that's the thing. We don't know how much value, it is that we're giving out every time. That this little time that we're spending here, we don't know how much value it would give. Like, sorry, I mentioned Interscope, but I didn't even know why I mentioned Interscope. That it was Island Record that signed Sonia. So please pardon me before you guys come from my head. I know how Twitter is. All right, so Mr. Wale, I'm going to be asking you, but before I ask this, Mr. Wale, this question, which I want us to round up as so that we don't bore people. I mean, I'm loving the whole session, but I know the two people that we have are busy people, and then also, but then this is just to reiterate. Please, if you know you have a question, if you also want to contribute to what has been said, please request for the mic, and to just remind you guys, this is Uvera Distro space. The topic is from creation to global stage, and one of the things that we do at Uvera is we try to also enlighten people, which Beth, this very space where we bring industry executives to talk about industry business and some of the knowledge that we feel an average person might not pay attention to. Like I said, the problem most of the time has always been that we think it's just about making music, and then you sign a contract, then you will now realize, that putting a pen to paper could be a problem. It could tie you to something for the next 10 years or sometimes for the rest of your life. Putting a pen to paper, just a pen. A pen is maybe like 13 era or 15 era. That could be the reason why you are tied to something for the rest of your life, or you could sign away your estate. So that's why it's not enough to say, that, I make the best music or have the best voice. It's way beyond that. You need to understand that this is an industry. And I realized this a couple of years ago, that everything in life is knowledge based. Like everything is built on knowledge. This app that we have is built from a certain knowledge. The chair you sat on or you're sitting on is built from knowledge. The clothes you wore. So everything that you have to do that has to do with the mind, there is a need for you to, gather or acquire some form of knowledge. And that's the gap that Mr. Wale and Mr. Unida has been talking about. A lot of the time we ignore the knowledge. Sometimes you trust somebody, the likes of George Foreman. I think he trusted somebody with his resources so much that he didn't know the person had squandered the money, and that was why he had to come back to fight at a very old age, because he needed to raise money back. And that's the thing. You don't just handle your stuffs to people without having an idea of how it's run. I'm not saying you shouldn't trust people. I'm saying you need to have an idea of what is done. It would shock you what people can do when they know you are ignorant. Everybody who is ignorant is a victim. Do you get me? So, um, I'm going to be saying this, asking Mr. Wale this question, and then afterwards we have the renewed Sam. He probably would maybe want to contribute or ask a question. Then it would come on afterwards. Mr. Wale, so now that we are here, and now that we know that some people within Africa, they are putting all their effort to be able to, like what Uvera is doing. We're putting our foot down and say, okay, we could have been a white label distro, which is like a third party distro, but then we decide, okay, let's go the longer route, and then have our own infrastructure, be able to give an average African creator what an European will get from an European distributor. To get me, and then you have access to us. We were talking to somebody in the DM, and then we replied the person, and then the person replied us and said, "You guys have the best customer care." I was like, okay. And the only reason why that person, because it didn't look like he's distributing with us first, but maybe he's been here in Nigeria trying to reach out to somebody over there, and then he wasn't getting response, but he got response very like almost immediately, and then he was happy. And so it's to let you know how people value when people give them attention, and that's part of amongst all the things, that's part of what we're doing. But now that we're here, and then we are globalized, which means that the business is no longer a one-man business, which is where I wanted to talk about the ecosystem. An ecosystem is something that is self-sustainable. Do you think that this Nigerian ecosystem is self-sustainable now? And if it's not, how do you think we could, I mean, amongst other things, I knew some of the things that you guys had already mentioned is, it's going to be part of what you're going to talk about, but, put it in like few words. How do you think, if, it's not sustainable now, how do you think we can start to put it together to build an ecosystem, that caters for an African creator? We're not just talking about Nigeria now, we're talking about an African creator. How do you think we can build an ecosystem for that?
Ha! This question.
You said it
This
all.
question.
I first
This,
asked you.
this question is layered, but it would make us dive into the economics of music consumption. I'll explain. We all know that at some point in time, um, Burna Boy put up a a post on his Instagram story where, of course, he said that look, that you have a million streams is not that you have the number one song or something on any stream platform in Nigeria is not something to celebrate. Aim higher or do other businesses on the side. Some people saw it, a lot of people saw it as a diss. Some people saw it as a, an opportunity to learn, and to create a sustainable environment where music artists, distro companies, record labels, songwriters, publishers, producers, instrumentalists, and every including stylists and photographers, as where they can earn a proper living, is when we have a viable economy across the 54 countries of Africa. Here's why I say so. If you look at the breakdown of monthly subscription, for music streaming, and you scroll down and you look at what we pay in Nigeria, in Egypt, in Kenya, in South Africa, I can go on, and you find out that it doesn't it doesn't move the needle, and that is why the payouts would always be small. See, look, in terms of volume, and by volume I mean streaming numbers, we have it in Africa. We have it. You look at Nigeria for once. Just look at one country, Nigeria, with more than 150 million people, if not up to 200 or 200 million plus. We have the numbers. So therefore, it is not so hard to see artists pushing 10 million streams, across stores. But then how much of that 10 million streams is enough to push the needle for the artist to be able to enter bus from Ajangbadi? to Idiroko to go and do a recording session. So that is just one of the layers we've peeled. The economy needs to be viable so that people would have enough purchasing power to buy music so that they can subscribe for subscription and be able to enjoy the creativity that consistently comes out from places like Malawi, Mali, Kenya, Uganda, Nigeria, South Africa, and all of that. In Nigeria here, we are paying as low as 900 naira monthly for monthly subscription. That is not really enough. By the time that 900 naira is split between the distro, the record label, the artist, the featured artist, and every other party that has created one song, how much do you think the artist will go home with? Do you get where I'm coming from? So the economy needs to be viable. That's one side. Two, education, education, education. Yes, we have the volume. Yes, we have the numbers, but we do not have the knowledge base to be able to ensure that the business angle is properly defined and everyone who is a stakeholder or participant or contributor or supporter knows where what's it called, the apple falls at the point of harvest. The point of harvest is when the artist is able to sell out shows, sell 1,000 tickets for a pop-up show in Egbeda, or even sell out 100 tickets for a small show at a house party. If the knowledge gap is not reduced, this I'm not even saying close it, I'm saying reduce it to a certain extent so artists know their rights, producers know their rights. You see that sustainability within the music ecosystem for Africa, we will not get it. We'll just keep going round and round, and we'll still come and hear stories about, oh, them want to rape me, oh, them do this one, oh, them do me that one. Meanwhile, you just signed away your entire catalog for the next 20 years without one level of ownership. Do you get what I mean? So those are the two ways I think we can create a sustainable ecosystem for music consumption and music creativity in Africa. One, a viable economy. Two, reducing the knowledge gap.
Thank you so much, Mr. Wale. That's a beautiful answer. All right, so I'm going to
I want
allow.
to quickly add some. Sorry, I want to quickly add
Okay,
something.
all right, go on.
In all of these things, we should increase our investment also. So we know for sure that there are so many investors coming into the country. However, even as Nigerians, we should also encourage investment within ourselves. We have those that can even invest in music business. Now, the unfortunate thing is that music business is not agriculture where you know that when you plant this maize, in 3 months' time, you are going to reap. No. But if you know that you have the money, you have the extra 200 million, 500 million that you can play with in the music business, invest it properly. When I say properly, I don't mean you coming in as Def Jam came and left, as Sony first came and left. No. You get those that understand the music business from the Nigerian perspective, employ them and put them to work. Let them do the real groundwork for you. Get the artists, develop the artists, because in all of these things, we're not even talking about artist development, and that is the most important thing. Because the artist is still the product that we are selling. Yeah, the music is the product, but the artist that will deliver the music is also a product. I don't want us to go into branding and all that, but we need proper investment and we need the investors to please engage the ones that understand the business of what is happening, the business of music in Nigeria, as it were. Not even, you can be fantastic in the UK and you come here and you will fail woefully because our terrain is not the same. Do you understand? So, yeah, that's just what I want to add.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. Oyinda. God bless you for that addition. All right, so the renewed Sam. Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, go on, please. You have a question or you want to contribute to what has been said?
Good evening, sir. Thank you for this privilege, sir. I have a
Yeah, go
question,
on.
sir.
Yeah, go on.
As an artist, as a gospel artist in Nigeria, and we we all are quite aware of how um, competitive the market is, and also how um, the way the market runs. But one of the challenges that I face, and as well, I've paid for some, I've gone for some conferences, some master class, paid some people to all to know about the music business. But at the end of the day, I realized that everything is sum up to um, money, like funding, especially in the marketing aspect. Because as Mr. Oyinda said, sir, he emphasized on something that is called funding, like to get investors. So as an artist, my one of my issues, one of my this thing is how do we get people to um 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 like an investor to fund us? Because to there are a lot of artists, a lot of talent in this country, a lot of them that are around now. But the problem is, as a normal artist, that you're trying your best, trying your best a little bit, but how are you going to because this talent is there and all that, but the funding aspect, because I also got to know from one of these big artists in this country, gospel artists. They gave me some contact email of someone I a gospel sorry, a UK based US based man. Is They call him Jacob Playlist or something like that. Said I should reach out to him. He asked me, okay, if you want to get, they use him to get wider reach at other part of the country. So I reached out to him. He told me, this is so amount of dollars. He said Empire, this and that, trust him. And the artist that gave me this contact is a big artist that gave him his email, that they use him a lot and all that. But where do I see $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 and all that? Even when I've not even, I'm using Ivera. Absolutely, it was one of the big artists that introduced me to Ivera also, and they have a great service, great customer service. Everything is perfect. But the problem is funding. How do we do it, sir? Like it's
Okay.
I don't even know.
Can I quickly come in? I
Yeah.
understand your question. Wale, please, before you take it,
Wait, wait,
let me
wait.
just quickly come in.
Why, Mr. Yinda,
Ola,
chill.
wait, wait,
So
wait.
first off,
Let me
hold
quickly
on, Mr.
come in.
Yinda, chill.
Ola,
I mean,
wait,
I'm going to
wait,
allow you to
wait.
speak.
No,
Hold on. I
Ola,
just
wait.
hold
No.
on, hold on, Mr. Yinda. I just want to commend him. He said that he uses Uvera, and then we have great service. I had to commend him first before. I know that your body they boil when it comes to funding. You always want to talk about funding, but let's first commend him. Renewed Sam. It's beautiful to hear you tell people without even being cardioed or anything. You're talking about how wonderful, Uvera service is. And, that's why I had to cut Mr. Yinda short to say, shout out to you. Thank you so much. And, it's a pleasure to have you, on board, and that, we're just wonderful. We're just happy to have you on board. And thank you so much for, that word. So Mr. Yinda, please go on now. You can, you can now talk.
So thank you for using Rivera. But now let me tell you
Yes,
one
sir.
thing. One thing I want to tell artists is gospel artists now, because I also have two gospel artists. And when I'm talking to them, I don't talk to them as gospel artists. You should know that you are competing in this space, and you also need. See, I'm a I have so many gospel artists I listen to. However, I'm a huge Davido fan. I'm a huge Bremo fan, and also Timi Dakolo and Kobams are my clients. So I listen to all these guys. But I am a huge gospel guy. So one thing is that for funding, nobody's going to sponsor your project. If 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 miracle did not happen, if your father, your mother, or your siblings or your uncle is not ready to give you the X amount that you need, nobody from outside is just going to come and jump on it. However, like I've always told all artists, however, this is where you need to come clear, come correct. See, drop your song, do your marketing. I know marketing is expensive, but I normally tell you guys too that marketing with 0 naira, you can start marketing your song with 0 naira. All you need is your data and your phone. And there are so many free apps on your phone, especially if you are using Android and not iPhone. Because iPhone, everything you just pay for them. Thank God, say we know they even pay for IG on iPhone. But you know, everywhere, especially on Android, there's just so many free apps that you can use to generate content, to do one something that will just make sense for you. So release good song. Good song is key. Release good song. Then develop, do content. See, there are so many songs that I've listened to that is because of the content I saw on IG that made me go and check out the song on Spotify and put it also on my playlist. So I have different types of playlists depending on the mood. So is this song, is the content that brought me to Spotify to search for the song. And that is how you grow. That is how you grow your audience. Because the first thing you also need to know is that you need audience. See, audience is key. Audience is key. That is your what's it called now? That is your asset. Your audience is your asset. You can't even play with it. If you do not have audience, then you are not an artist. Because you need people to be able to listen to you. Once people start listening to you, people will now start paying for you. I tell people, Burna Boy today can decide to say, if you want to use Burna Boy as your brand ambassador, he might tell you that I want to charge you $100 million. If you think it's too much, go and meet another artist. Go and meet Rema. But Rema will not give you the crowd that Burna Boy will give you because you have so many people listening to Burna Boy than Rema. So because of that, he will charge you because he has so many. So your fan base is very, 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 very key. How do you build your fan base? See, just know the first thing that you should know is that you have only one guy that is listening to you. And what do you want to do? You want to service that guy properly. Service that guy properly. I say this a lot. In my house, my wife is a BTS fan, a Korean music fan. I hate Korea. I don't even know what they say. I do not like them for anything. But we've been together. She has fed me everything about Korean music. Now, if I get any content on ATEEZ, I will quickly go and check it out. Any content on BTS, I'll quickly go and check it out. Simply because I have someone that will not let me sleep except I listen to. Do you understand? So feed that one person. Feed that person right. That person will introduce your song to another person. And in the same manner, I have taken my wife also to go and see Brimo when it was still Brimo, blessed memory. I've taken my wife to go and see Brimo at for a concert simply because I'm a huge Brimo fan. So service that one. You only have one customer. You don't even know who the fan is, but service that client very well. Before you know it, you will see that when you release song, you will move from maybe when you check your Spotify for artists, you will see 20 streams, 20 listeners, maybe 15 in Nigeria. Then you will see one in Greece, one in France that just scattered. But just pick one and keep dropping content. Put content on your IG. Please, and your social media should not be locked. You never blew. Your social media should not be locked. Artists, when I get plenty issues, but that's by the way. So see, when you now start growing, you can now start saying, okay, you want to do meetup. You first start with online. You do IG live, you do all this live. You see that, okay, 15, 20, 30 people don't they join your live. You now said, okay, let's meet somewhere on the mainland, on the island, depending on where your people live. If they are in your state, you live in Ibadan, yeah, let's meet somewhere. You meet 10, 15, 20, 30 people. You don't charge them at first. Just let them come together, have a good time, talk, sing for them. Let them give you lyrics, sing, let them feel a part of you. See, this is how you grow. This is how you grow. This is how you need your fan base. See, when you start doing all these things, it is a hard work. But if you want to be an artist, you must be ready to put in the work. So when you now start having all this, then before you know it, funding will come. The right funding will come for you. The right funding will come. But say you just want start, you're now looking for Tinubu to come and give you money. No go happen. Never.
I,
It won't happen.
I
Thank you
have
so much.
I just
Yeah, go on,
I
Mr. Wale.
I agree. I agree with Oyinda on this one. But I also have a very unpopular opinion, and I'm about to say something that a lot of people would hate me for. And first things first, yeah. Renewed Sam, how you doing, man?
Fine, sir.
All right, fantastic. I see that you are a gospel music minister, a songwriter, and you are the CEO of the Crucified Music, a gospel music record label. Awesome, fantastic. Following up with what Mr. Oyinda just said, bro, I've gone through your your timeline, and I've not seen anything remotely connected to the fact that you are a music artist. The last post you wrote yourself was way back in 2024, last year, 22nd of August of September 2024. But
I'm
just
not
like you
active here.
said,
That's why I'm not active on Twitter.
you have to take everything as a whole.
Okay.
There's nothing like, oh, I'm a TikTok artist, or I'm a Twitter person, or I'm an Instagram person. But you have to put yourself out there across every available platform, across all available platform. You can't cherry pick. You can't say I'm not active here. I'm active there, or I'm a TikTok person. You can't say I know how to use Snapchat only, so therefore let me go and focus on Snapchat. Baba, it is there's a reason why it is called music business. The business aspect requires that you are active across every platform that people can reach you on. That's one. Two, here's my unpopular opinion, and this has to do with funding your recording session, funding your marketing budget, funding your styling, your clothes, even funding for your data. Here's what I tell emerging artists: get a job. That's my belief. Here's why I say so. Music marketing is, am I allowed to curse here? It's fucking expensive. Even $50 is a lot of money. Whip out your calculator.
You did not even wait for my
I'm
permission.
very sorry. I am very sorry.
Go
Music
on.
marketing is bloody expensive. Even when you're trying convert $10. My network just knocked me out. Shout out to MTN, man. Always doing the most. Okay, so back to my point. I honestly think that with the way the economy is going, especially in Nigeria, if you're an emerging artist, that's an artist that you are yet to cross the milestone of having your own shows where 100 people buy tickets and they come and they come for your gigs. If you have not been able to get to that point where your auntie is doing her 70th birthday and they pay you 300,000 naira to come and perform, get a job. It is from that job that you'll be able to save and have money for recording sessions. But recording sessions are expensive. No producer or someone that owns a, a speaker, a monitor, and microphone will give it to you for free unless the person just likes you for liking sake. But then there's always something to be paid for. You go pay for generator. If person give you free speaker and free laptop and 808 and everything, would you not buy for if you don't have power to power those equipment? So you need a job, something that you can use to fund a certain aspect of your craft. By the time it blows up to the point where you are able to make money off it and fund it, you can now say, okay, let's now go deep down into the proper business side of things. If you are still looking for an investor, Baba, there's a reason why it is called investment. There should be a returns on the investment that has been made. If you're looking for an investor, what is the investor going to invest in? 100 monthly listeners, 100 followers, 200 streams? Yes, talent means a lot, but then if you've not been able to even exploit your own talents by yourself to be able to push yourself beyond the level where you are in right now, then you are not ready to play ball. I said it before in one of my posts on Twitter and Instagram, and I said, until emerging artists start seeing their music releases and every content associated with that music release as a product to sell, then you're not ready to play ball. That is why I say, get a job. If you're an emerging artist, though, this is just my own personal recommendation. Baba, Igboro ti daru. 50K no reach again, 10K no reach again, 20K no reach again. But by the time where you have something that is giving you maybe 50K, 100K monthly, you know, okay, your essentials are already sorted. Like your feeding, your boat Uber rides, your rides to a particular concert or a music summit or a music business networking opportunity. Would you pay Uber for free? Then you have to pay. So I honestly feel emerging artists who are looking for funding, before you look for the funding, get a job. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Wale. And I totally agree with both of them. So, um, I think what people don't understand is this, that I tell people all the time there are seven phases to every artist's career. There is the talent phase, the branding phase, the production phase, the marketing phase, the performance phase, the reward phase, and then the lifestyle. You see, the talent phase, that's when you just have a talent before you find somebody to invest in you, which is the period when Mr. Wally is telling you to get a job because it takes money to brand, it takes money for production, it takes money for marketing to happen. If you're going to get a platform to even perform your song at some point, Seth, you would have to pay because the person would feel, oh, bro, I'm giving you a platform to perform. You're performing to my audience, So you have to pay your way through before you then be able to now get your reward, And it's a lot of work. It's a lot of hard work. So I agree with Mr. Wally. You have to get a job. So we are going to be taking two more questions from Mr. Akin, or what is his name, Mr. Akin, and then from Unknown Graham. But before then, I'd like Mr. Perry to speak. I think he wants to say something. Good evening, Mr. Perry.
Hi, good day, guys. Sorry, I'm in the hospital. My son is ill, but I just wanted to touch up on the whole funding thing, and I really want to appreciate the speakers, Uncle Wale, finally, and Mr. Oyinda. Nice to also connect with you. So talking about funding, when Wale was speaking, I just remembered something. I understand that Oyinda, you are Timothy Kolo's catalog manager. All of us used to be in House on the
Marketing
Rock
and catalog
those
manager.
days, and I still remember the struggle. This was, I'm talking 2007 or so. I remember the struggle of those guys because music wasn't paying then, and if you don't have a job or more, if they no go even leave you, you can't even be in the choir because you don't see money buy uniform. You can't even come to church to now join the choir, to now look, and then you're looking hungry. How you want to do the audition? Who want welcome you inside church? You know, because we were all there. Timmy knows me. We were all there. So it was obvious. Go get a job, go and do something, because music, look, like what I said, is expensive. I don't want to use the F word, as it's expensive. It's expensive, and 10K, 20K doesn't do it anymore. It's really expensive now. So the advice is, get something that you are doing, then from there you can now fund the music, right? Because if you're looking for an investor wants to look at your data. Uncle, how many streams are you doing? What's your social media looking like? What's what are your revenues looking like? Because it's that thing that they will look at, and then they will now say, oh, okay. For example, we currently we have a funding partner, and the first question is, anybody we are funding has to be doing a minimum of $100 per month, minimum of $100 per month. Now, for you to get to that point, you have to put your money, or friends and family money, anybody money, because you have to invest. I heard renewed Sam saying that someone said that they should bring $1,000. That money is probably to boost you first to boost your streams first before they now start talking to a funder, a funding partner, or an investor. That money that they're asking you for is probably maybe they take and they boost you first so that when they now look at your stream for the next 3 4 months, there's something consistent. The numbers are impressive before they now begin to look for money to take it to the next level. So I just wanted to add to that. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much, Mr. Perry. Everybody's emphasizing on the fact that you have to get a job or put yourself in a place where so the business itself is a business of perception. So imagine that you're so talented but you look hungry. I'm telling you, would not have the appeal to people, would not be drawn to you. They might eventually listen to you, but the bulk of the people would have left before they even realize that, oh, this guy is talented, because somehow you don't have the appeal. So at least to a level, that was why I like the way Mr. Wale puts it, the essentials. You're able to cover your essentials. If you walk out from a Ajangbadi to Lekki for an event, the way you go sweat, nobody will give you mic sing. So there are things that you have to put in place before you can now say you want to be an artist. The word artist, ARTISTE, is a public performer. And the one thing that public always have, they have a public opinion, they have public perception, they have public expectation. If you can't meet up with these public, imaginations and expectations and all that, see, they will relegate you quickly. So I hope that answers your question. Unknown Gram. Oh, sorry. I think it was Mr. Akin that requested for the mic first. Good evening, Mr. Akin.
Good evening, Ola. Thank you very much, guys. My name is Mr. Akin, licensing lead for Umdundo. Umdundo is a DSP, Umdundo Nigeria to be specific. And hopefully,
Nice.
it's always nice coming on spaces like this to listen to, the big men in the industry, Oyinda, Wale. Hopefully, Ivera and Mdundo would, be having a conversation after this space to talk about how we can, partner and do great things together. Yeah, that's that on the side. For me, I want to do two things. I want to pick the brain of Wale and Onyida. But before I pick their brain, I want to just quickly comment on the artist guy. Anytime there's a space like this or there's a seminar or conference, that question we always get it. We that we're in the industry, artists always say how, because obviously we say you need money to pop in the industry. Artists to say, okay, where's the money? That's the question they're always asking. And I think everybody has said it all. You need to get a job. It might not even necessarily be, go and work in the bank or anything. Just get something else that you feel will pay you, or you are multi-talented. You are even more talented than you think. I know of some emerging artists, that started out as artists, and now they are, one of them is doing sound engineering, making money by mixing people's songs and investing that money back into his own music. You understand? And he's doing amazingly well with that. I know of another artist that I used to work with. Now he discovered that he can actually hype too, and the hype industry in Nigeria is growing, and they are paying hype men to come and hype in the club and all that. In the same club that artists will beg to perform, they will pay hype man that is not even known. If it's 100K, if it's 200K, they will pay you as an hype man to come and hype. You will do that on the side and save up some money. Before gradually, there are popular examples also. Like Nas Boy that was a skit maker or IG comedian, and now he has delved back. And according to information, music was actually his first love. He just stumbled on the IG content creation, and then you know from there now he's doing what he's doing. So you can look at other aspects. You can even go and start TikTok streaming or something. You can start gaming. I'm sure maybe you like playing games. You can go on Twitch and go and start streaming games or something. I don't know, anything that you feel would bring in some sort of income, then put the money back into your music, and eventually you blow up. So yeah, I just said I should put that there. Okay, so to pick Wale's brain and Unida's brain, fast forward from now, we're in 2025. I want to get like three predictions each from both of them. Three predictions of where we are going to. where do you see the industry? Where do you see the music? Where do you see, the artists generally in say 10 years from now, 7 years, 10 years from now? Three predictions into the future. I want to just, I want to jump into the future with both of them. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Okay.
All right. So, Prophet Wale
Oh,
and Prophet
Sorry,
Oyinda,
I didn't get the
please.
question. It got butchered and missed.
he wants us to predict
Okay,
now.
so he said he wants three predictions from you guys each about the future. Next 5 years, next 7 years, next 10 years thereabouts. Three predictions of what would happen to the industry or to the artistry, and then the act in the industry.
Let me give you one. I'll think of the remaining two. We we will not see another Burna Boy, Wizkid, Davido in the next. All I know, I've told this thing. I've told you before. We will not see another Davido, Wizkid, Burna Boy effect in the next 5 years. Some might argue,
Okay.
but there are some
Hmm.
people coming up. Yes, they are coming up, but would they have the same impact as these three I
The
mentioned?
impact, yeah.
In the next 5 to 10 years, we won't see another.
And I
Yeah,
and I think I agree with it to a level, but so I think to a level, I mean, now I would not say there would not be anybody, but I mean, like you said, the same effect. Because I think what the effect of Davido and Whiskey, for instance, it was this rivalry that created, that effect. It wasn't just the talent, it wasn't just the hustle, it was the rivalry. And I think at some point that gave the market itself something to look forward to, something to talk about. I mean, it became toxic at some point, but it gave them something to like really talk about, to fight over, to hype and all that, which I feel it was one of the things that drove the Nigerian music industry also, media wise. So yeah, Mr. Oyinda, do you have your
Okay,
predictions
so
or you
let
still
me
want to
let
think
me
about
quickly
them?
drop two. Maybe while I'm saying it, maybe the three will come as the
Shit.
spirit leads. So the first one is that all this homecoming that we do every December, that every artist will jam pack in December to do their
Mm.
concert. I'm foreseeing like in the next decade, between now and the next decade, it will be broken into two. That is, there would be like an half of the year concert because we would have already had a concert center that can allow that. So it might be in Lagos, it might be in wherever, I don't know, but people would come home somewhere. It can even be Easter period or say before June, July, or that mid of the year, June, July. People would come and just come and have fun before they go back, and also come back in December. So it will be double in the year. The second one would be there would be next 5 years or thereabout, there should be a rise in tour, school tour, because people still do not understand what it means to tour schools. But I think there should be a rise in school tours because we have the major reason why I'm saying is because we have so many artists now that are just Gen Z guys. Do you understand? All these Sade, all these even Barry J, all these guys, they can easily tour schools without stress. And if they put in the work now, in 5 7 years, you guys, all those top three, top four guys, they will come back and start touring school with them in Nigeria. And you know that for schools, you have your audience ready, you have the all ready. You just possibly put a bit of, so it's not like you are doing something very fantastic. So you have school tour. The third one will be very funny, sha, but it's not going to be 10 years. I'm seeing if I'm seeing the future right now where there will be like a chip. I've said this times without number, sha, where you insert somewhere in your body and you have like 1 terabyte of music on it. I don't know how it's going to be. I know you will laugh. You don't say I don't talk this thing. Because the way this thing is going, see, if you see the way
I
we've
beg you,
moved,
that prediction no
if you
go
see the way
happen.
we've
Forget,
moved,
forget.
if you see the way
Now
we've
six
moved
sixes
from
they
live,
try introduce.
from
I beg,
live,
I beg, I beg.
wait, from live now, from live, all this our Agidigbo from live, we moved to cassette, we moved to CD. You know, cassette used to be side A and side B. Now we moved to CD, just one side. Now we've moved to streaming. We moved to streaming. Now you can have 1 million songs on your phone, on Spotify, or wherever. Now there will be like a chip. See, oh, praise the Lord.
Okay, forget this
It
your
go happen.
prediction.
Maybe the Elon Musk go do am, we don't know. But it
All
go
right,
happen.
so I want us to round up this space like very soon. We're supposed to be an hour 30 minutes space, and I think already we are close to the end of the space. So I will just take unknown grams maybe question or comment, and then afterwards we'll round up the space. So unknown gram, good evening.
Hello, sir. Good evening. Good evening, everyone. Can,
Yeah,
can you hear
good
me?
evening.
Oh,
Yes, we can.
okay. My question is not much. It's about an artist. Let me say, imagine artist now. The person not to like guide, like not to hold funds, but in the work. But the work when they work now, maybe the payout never, the money never reach for some songs where you want release. So and maybe the I don't create group where be say I add some of the people on the IG reels or my TikTok. I don't create communities like group there each where I will add each of those people to join those reels, to join the community where I don't create. So my question there we say if I never like first found myself so that people record songs to publish. I dey reason whether make I still dey drop con ten t on the old songs wey I don release and make I still dey do maybe freestyles like cover. So like and like how I need to use engage more for those other people to still see me, like make the account still dey active. Like I just wan share with una and wetin to do next before I fit to release my next project. So that's the question.
I think Wale will talk to you, but before
I'm
Wale
going
talk,
to let
I know
I'm
on
going to let Wale speak. Just hold on, please.
okay. No, Wale go
So
talk now. Wale go talk.
one thing I want you to understand on non-gram is that already you have a community, which is what you're saying. But I think you said you don't have like resources yet to promote a new song, but then you already have this community. One thing
Yeah,
I
come.
feel you guys need to understand is
Come
at
put
the
on speaker.
point when you just, when you're just starting out, you're introducing yourself to people. If you don't feed them with new content, it could be maybe like new videos for the whole song, which I don't advise, but that's also a good idea. Or you do freestyles like, give them new content and still letting them know. The other thing that you can do is, excuse me, guys, you find a way to bring these guys into your team. Some of them, not all of them, some of them, especially like the ones that are very outspoken, very vocal. You bring them into your team. Some of them you don't even have to like drop new song on the mainstream. You just drop it in the group and tell them, oh guys, this is like what I'm working on. What do you guys think? And whatever they say, you try to apply it, because the moment they feel they've contributed to your career, they are psychologically glued to you. That's the way it works. If you meet somebody now, I mean, I've seen that scenario happen to me, sir, that somebody will reach out to me via DM and say, sir, hear this song. And then I'll go listen, okay, touch this part, touch this part. And somehow, I'm watching out for what they post next. So you could use that to lure people in. Also, you could give some of them that they are very passionate about what you're doing. You bring them into your team. Some of them, you give them a role. Let them be closer to the brand beyond just being a fan. Because at that moment, you don't have a fan, you have listeners. So they could easily leave, and then, they could be converted to somebody else's fan. Already they have people that they love, even beyond the love your song. Some of them don't have your song on their phones. So they are not yet your fans. You just have their attention. And to be able to bring them, to make them a fan, you have to give them a responsibility or bring them closer to you. I hope that helps. But let me allow Mr. Wale to also add to.
Before Wale, let me quickly
Yeah.
say this. Before Wale, please.
Okay.
Before Wale, please. So on Gram, I know you. I think I'm one of the guys in your group on IG, and I think you're doing a fantastic work. What I would just say is listen to what Wale wants to say because he has some cheat code, and I hope it will be able to help you. The second one is that you should also try, yeah, you should also try to release new projects, single now, not a body of work. To introduce your guys to what to new things. Also, don't also forget that you should not stop promoting your old project because as long as some people have not listened to it, that means you still have new fans or new guys out there that the song is still new to them. Yeah, so that is it. Wale with the cheat code.
Okay. On Gram, yeah, Chief. I'm just gonna ask you two questions. I'll ask you only just two questions. And that will give me an idea of how to answer your question properly. My guy, what
Yes.
does music mean to you?
Music, like to me, music is something I used to express my feeling.
Okay, good, good. My next question to you is this: what do you want to take out of music?
Like what I want to take out of it.
Don't tell me you want to blow.
Okay,
What do you
okay.
want to take out of music as an individual and as a music person? What do you want to take out of music?
Well, I want to take the things I want to take out of music is not just to blow because normally everybody won't blow, but something we be say would just be like I be icon for this, like this is this person through something like through music, see wetin this person become or so we go feel make other people where they
And your
my age.
respect. And
Yes,
yourself a respect.
yes, one, and still make other people still believe in themselves, say okay, yeah, if this person fit do am, me too I fit do am, so something like that.
Okay. All right. Fantastic. Awesome. 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 Here's what I think you should do. And Oyinda actually knocked off one. You cannot be sitting down on songs you have created waiting for sun to shine or snow to fall before you put them out. Yes, I understand that marketing is a bit hard because of funds. Put those releases out. And just like Oyinda said, don't try to release a body of work. Anybody that tells you, put out an album, please don't. Anybody that tells you, put out an EP, I beg you, my guy, no try 'em. Start with building a, a list of songs by putting out singles and creating content around the songs that you have created. The ones that are old, yeah, for the ones that are old and the content you've dropped. Baba, look at your back end. The last 100 streams on is no, okay. Let me ask you this: when was the last time you dropped a song?
I won't lie. Let me say last year, July 10th.
Last year.
I
This is
swear.
so July,
Then,
August, September, October, November, December, January, February, March, April, May. 10 months
yeah,
of no activity. What have
only
you been doing in that 10 months?
well, I'm learning a skill because already now before on I don already the advice upcoming. Say you need to get a skill, you need to find ways to make money so that you don't depend on
No talk
okay.
ways
You
to make
don't
money. Oh.
advise
Get
yourself.
job. Oh. I beg you. Legit, legit, legit.
You don't already advise yourself, Abi.
So I start to learn one skill I go use the guide. Like I still
Good. Fantastic.
know.
Fantastic. So now I'm gonna ask you, yeah. I'm gonna ask you this, my guy. The last song you dropped, the last song you dropped, how many streams did it have on Audiomack, Spotify, and Apple Music? How many streams? Total, total streams.
I didn't check on audio. Okay, let me say Boomplay and my Apple
I
Music.
didn't mention Boomplay. I
Okay,
mentioned
Audio Mac.
Apple Music, Spotify, and Audiomack. The total streams you had. What was the total stream number?
Okay, currently I don't know for Apple Music, but when when it comes to the Spotify, it gave me 1,000 streams and Boom Play. I'm sorry, Audio Mac 1,000 streams. So I remember I because I noticed it for the back end, most of the people with the stream now I dey see US, some Belgium, even Nigerians who I dey even think say go stream the song sef. You go see okay maybe inside the must say 1,000 or must say 100 for example, you go see something like 20 for Nigeria. You go see for US or Belgium 50 something, 30 something for Netherlands, something like that. Boom play. Sorry, Audio Mac. I no check down, but I did sure for that Spotify back end and I screenshotted it. So that I just kept the scene, the back end, show some of my guys. Say, see, oh, when you go want Nigeria to stream your song, and no go stream them. See where other countries where I no dey even put hope. I no dey even now then they even give me more result past these people here. Then there was a time on all these IG reels, I do post me and my guy because not be only me they run this music stuff. We did too. But him now, based on him they work. So our freestyle day somehow, maybe him now him go come up with something. Based on me, our page, they bored. Him go do something. Only then him go send for me. When I edit them, I post them. Then e get one certain time where as we post, I come notice one Japan girl. The girl come send us DM, like over 7 to 10 posts. Send us DM. They like tell us say him just like our music out of not be even say we promote that freestyle. So me I dey feel say wetin I wan understand now be say if we post videos, as we post those videos, we promote them. I know say inside there, I believe say inside there, like any I'm done at 2 to 3 persons go fit like wetin we dey do. And once those 2 or 3 persons like am, I dey feel say whether we go take those people now, like okay, you like this stuff. Can we add you to this community? Is that how you guys build the community, or is there any other way? I don't know. So that's another question I have to say. Thank you.
So I'm going to let Wale answer the question. Then I'm going to add to this question that you asked. I'm going to respond.
There's,
Okay, Mr. Wale, go on, please.
there's a lot to unpack with this conversation. There's a lot to unpack. I'm going to say something. Um, my concern from all of this that I've heard is that you aren't paying attention to your back end and your data, because you haven't been able to convince me that you are monitoring things, except when people like your post and when they send you a DM. And that right there is a problem, because if you are not conversant with your own data for the content you put out or the music you put out, how would you know when to put out a song, what kind of sound to create, what kind of content to create, where to push the content to, how to push the content, and even understand why they like your content? Do you get me? So you and your friend need to go back to the drawing board and ask yourself pertinent questions. Question number one is, why did we start this? Question two, how do we get to where we want to get to based on where we are right now? Number three, you said you've spent the last 8 to 10 months trying to learn a skill. How far have you gone to getting to learn that skill? And is this skill able to, are you able to monetize this skill so that you can start getting a certain level of income to handle your essentials as a man and as a human being? I'm not saying money where you go sharply give babe, we ask you for urgent 2K. I'm asking money that you can use to sort out your own personal bills. as a human being?
Okay,
So no, hold on. No, this is I'm not telling you to answer these questions
okay,
now.
okay,
I'm telling
okay.
you that when you get after this space, take your time and ask yourselves these questions. Why did we start this? What was our plan in the first place? Where we wanted to get to, how far have we come? Okay, now that we are in this space and this is where we need to get to, what do we need to do to get to where we need to get to, or to get to this next level, to at least show that we've made a certain level of footwork? I didn't say progress, footwork towards the goal. Because, bro, there's a lot to be done as an emerging artist. It is harder for you as an emerging artist. It is 1,000 times harder as an African emerging artist. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. I think we're going to round up the space now. Renewed Sam, I'm seeing your hand up, but I did fear say the question where you want ask will keep us here till like tomorrow. But then, I mean, yeah, shout out to you because you're going to get that Uvera privilege. You know, it's not easy to have somebody who distributes Uvera ask questions. So this space is actually made for you. So you have a minute plus to ask your question, and then we would answer the question in about 2 minutes so that we can all round up the space and then go home and rest. So
Okay, thank you, sir, for the privilege. Straight to the point. Um, as you have said that I should get a job, as in all of that. Of course, as a man that I am, I have to have responsibility and all that. I have a studio. I'm a music producer as well, and I have I've learned a lot of skills and all that. But the my question is that you know you just being a Nigerian or an African, life is already scoring you like 2-0 ahead, and music business deals with dollars. How no how as in how am I going to how much am I earning? If they convert it to dollars now, how much will it be? Because $50 is more than maybe like more than let's say almost 100,000 or something just by $50, and we are talking about hundreds of dollars at least. How am I going to get those funding? I know I have to hustle. Of course, I have job, I have this, I have that. But the question is, even people that are there already, they are still promoting their song, spending money, thousands of dollars and all that. Not to talk of an emerging artist, so like me. So my question is, should I focus on um what do you call it, content? Should I
sorry that
focus
I'm
on
laughing.
content? Should I focus on content? Because dollars, we are talking about dollars here. How am I going to get, um, how much am I going
Oh
to
yeah,
earn
wait,
that will
wait,
give me
Sam.
valuable?
So,
Calm
I'm
Sam,
down
trying to run
chill.
now.
away from all these things.
Sam,
It's the truth. It's the truth of
I
the
was, I
matter.
was, and I like the
So the
fact. I
funny thing
like the
is that it's
fact.
not
You know.
even
So the thing is, hold
the
on,
funny thing is
Damola,
that
please.
it's not even
The thing
funny
is
to me.
this. Hold on, Damola, please. Every time you see a Yoruba man say, "Should I cuckoo?" That means you don't reach you don't reach the height of And I have to tell you this: your questions are very valid, and it's the truth. When you sit down to think about the amount that an African artist, or sorry, not even an amount that you need to promote your song to get to a level where you're ahead. We're not talking we're talking 20, 30, sometimes to the range of about 40, 50 million, depending on how far you want to go. And it could be more than that, so it's scary for an emerging artist. But first off, you don't have to think about the money. Because as much as you're an artist, especially when you're a gospel artist, the reason why they don't ask gospel artists, what genre do you do, is because it's not about the genre. It's about how your sound connects to people, and so for most, most gospel artists, you don't have to, and I stand to be corrected, but I believe that you don't need to majorly start from online. I think you need to start from a locality. I think the thing about gospel is not just for song. It's not just about the song. It's about how well they trust the minister Do you get me? It's not just that. I mean, there are songs that you do now that people would love, and then they want to engage you. They love the sound and all that, but that's almost a rare case. Unlike you have secular artists and all that who are able to just pick their song. I think for most gospel artists, they need to start from a base. They need to start from a church. They need to start from a parish. They need to have an affiliation with some choir, some people. And these people, it's as though when you are a student and then you're an artist as a student, you could have your course mates, your colleagues, your department, your faculty, all of these guys promoting you. The same way, if you're genuinely connected to a source, to a people, those people are going to be the one promoting you now. When Mr. Oyindamola was talking about the power of one listener the other time, that's because this listener, they have friends, families, they have brothers, they have sisters, they have uncles, they have colleagues. If all they do is just promote your song because they genuinely connect to your song, I'm telling you, you're going to find somebody. And that's why it's easier for gospel artists, because you already have people who trust you, who trust your sound. You have a community. You just need to learn to connect to that, community. I don't know if, maybe Mr. Oyinda or Mr. Wale wants to add to what has been said, but that's my opinion. Just, you know, um, learn to connect to that base. It's not, I even believe for most gospel artists, it's not the amount of money. I mean, you still need to promote, don't get me wrong, but it's not the amount of money that you promote with that determines how far you go. I just think it's the music itself. It's how well you're able to connect to people and present yourself as a gospel artist. Because you're not entertaining people. That's the difference. You are ministering to people. You're ministering to people. It has to, the sound and the content need to have substance. I think when you do that enough, and then you use your base, I'm talking about the church you're connected to. There's a guy in my church who at some point our church had to let him go because he's connected to the base so much that the person managing him was from the church. So he at some point became the choir, master sort of. And then almost every choir member loved him. And then every time he's going to somewhere to minister, people are following him in numbers. And at some point, he started to get gigs from different, churches and parishes, and so much that we had to relieve him of him being the choir master, because it's very obvious that almost every Sunday is not available. I mean, then I compared, so this very person has been trying to promote his sound on the internet, but a lot of the time I'm not seeing the response on the internet. But this guy is getting gigs and is getting like called for events and all that at different parish around the locality of where he lives and where the church is and all that. So I feel the way you build as a gospel artist is different from how you build as a secular artist, especially when you have a community, a church community that you can tap into. So, Mr. Wale, Mr. Oyindamola, do you want to add to what has been said?
Let me just say this. Renewed Sam, um, stop thinking of dollars, because there are platforms that you can spend 10,000 naira on to promote your sound. On AudioMark, we have. Permit me to do this, please. Ola, am I allowed to hype AudioMark for a bit?
Yes, yes, yes. Go on.
Good. So on AudioMark, we have what we call AudioMark Boost. AudioMark Boost allows artists to promote their song and put it in front of listeners, or people who like a particular type of genre of music. It could be gospel, it could be hip hop, it could be Afrobeat, it could be juju, it could be akbala, it could be anyone. Here's the interesting thing: you can even do it for as low as 10,000 naira. And the sweet part about this AudioMark Boost is that the streams that you get on it is not stream farming, these are organic streams that you can monetize and make money back from. So stop thinking, how am I going to get $100? How am I going to get $50,000? How am I going to get $1,000? Start thinking, let me build. Let me build on this. I have 50,000 naira right now. Okay, have I paid for my distro light for my? Have I put token on my meter? Do I have data? Yes. Have I put 5,000 naira away for emergency? Okay, I have 20,000 naira left. Let me put 10,000 naira into AudioMark Boost, see where it takes me to, see the numbers, where the numbers are coming from. Do another AudioMark Boost for 10,000 naira again, targeting the first 10,000 you've already spent. That's how you do it. Here's another thing I'd also recommend: renewed Sam. I already said it before. Stop thinking of dollars. We don't normally spend dollars. It's just, but when you say the music business is all about dollars, it's because it has been valued in dollars, but we don't spend dollars. Do you get? That's one. Now you need to understand financial management. That is another issue that emerging artists need to know, because I've seen artists, superstars who have blown money and they've not made it back. So please, I beg you, understand how to make money and how to use money. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. I think
Well,
Mr. Abraham wants to
Wale,
say something
Wale
also.
called it
Okay,
already. Hello.
hold on, Mr.
Yes,
Abraham.
Wale called
Yeah,
it
go
already.
on, Mr.
I
Oyinda.
wanted to talk about the yeah, I wanted to talk about the dollar thing. Dollar is that you earn in dollar. You don't necessarily spend in dollars. But Wale said it already. So yeah, that is so I'm always of the opinion that um Ola knows this, and I'm going to say it again today. I'm always of the opinion that if you think you don't understand anymore, if you think it's getting too overwhelmed for you, I think the best thing for you to do is to quit. That's the best thing to do. Because music business go frustrate your life. It can put you in a mad ass depression. So if you think, I don't even understand this thing again, just quit. Do your production or just quit or just go and do another thing entirely. Because the way you are talking, man, it be like, you don't do everything. You know, kuku man, they work. Make you just, you know. So if you have gotten to that stage, I beg, just quit music. Don't worry. You will see artists go blow. You go see them. You go
Mr.
like music.
Oyinda, Mr.
So
Oyinda says
don't
this all
kill
the
yourself.
time, and I always go against them. Now, this is, I mean, the time is almost nine thereabouts, so I don't want me to argue, but then, bro, I mean, you're a gospel artist, which I believe you have a calling. Do you get me? So, I mean, you get to the point if you feel
As a
mentally
gospel musician,
drained and all that, whatever you call it, I mean, if you feel you've gotten to that point where you could not mentally carry the weight, what I tell people is pause first. Pause, take some times off. Do some other stuff, learn a skill, get a job, maybe make money, learn more about the music business. I did the same thing. I think by now I could have been frustrated when I was signed to a label. I had to pause for about 4 years to understudy branding. Learning about branding puts me in a spot where I could be more valuable to the industry. So if you think you're overwhelmed, you could take a pause, learn some other stuff, allow the mind to learn other things to grow, and then come back. But I don't believe in you quitting, because I feel there's a lot that you could contribute. Even the knowledge that you have so far as a producer and as an artist, it's enough to guide somebody else to start on. That's why the likes of
exactly. That's what I can
I
focus
mean,
on
there are names.
production. As a producer, I can focus on production. Yeah, that's what I say. But
All
if
right,
you
so
think production self, not even
Mr.
make sense, just
Abraham, you don't, Mr.
Yeah,
Hinda, you want?
good everyone, and thank you for joining our space. Mr. Onida, good day, sir. I respect you, sir. Mr. Wale, thank you for being on the space. Uh, so, what I want to say is actually based on what Mr. Wale said, and I want to ask Ola. Mr. Wale said something about artists can post something on Audio Mark and the rest, and I want to ask Ola, do we have this information? As Audiomack send us this information as their partner.
Don't put Mr. Wally on the spot. We'll talk about it later.
Oh my God.
But we're going. Yeah,
Our
I feel
space.
like it would be very unfair
Okay.
to ask him the head. But then I think the beautiful thing, yeah, go on,
It's our space,
Mr.
and
Abraham. You want to say something? Go on.
like it's our space, and it has the permission if you could, throw more light because we know we've had. Reason I'm asking this question is because we've had a lot of people reach out to us and they want to do, but we are more kind of too careful not to give some people some hopes that is not there. Like every speaker has spoken, the music industry is
Yeah.
expensive, it's capital intensive, and but above all, just do what Mr. Oyinda advised. You are first. That's what I tell most artists that reach out to me. You're first a content creator, so create content, focus on more content, do content, uh, do covers, put those things on social media. Let build a community. That on that basis, you have a good leverage when you maybe you're discussing deals or advance or whatever it is. Just build build it, and it takes time. There's this word I say Rome is not built in a day. It takes time, but you just have to be creative and strategic about it. Mr. Wale said something. You don't just focus on one part of your social media. Even though you're not getting that engagement you think you want to get on Facebook or on Twitter, con- distribute your content across all medium that people convey or consume content from. Push your content across it. No matter what, there are still some people that will definitely uh follow your tunes. Those that will identify with you, they are all there. Secondly, be true to your calling. Be true to yourself. And the last thing, I'll follow Mr. Yinda. Just asking if the thing don't overwhelm you, my brother. You should know when to tell your story. Say me.
Why
I need
everybody they use the word quit? Please, you guys should know overwhelm our artists. A
no, we're
lot
not.
of them need.
In as much as Ola, in as much as we want to sugarcoat this thing, I believe that okay, you've been an artist. Mr. Oyinda also have been in one way or the other in the industry for a while. Either he started out in school as a rapper or this because I've also started out as a rapper at the point. Uh,
Èmi rap kẹ̀,
no,
Ọlọ́run
no,
ló
I'm just I'm just saying
No
that
vex,
Is
no vex, no vex.
we understand where we're coming from. And once we get to that point to tell you that man, when it gets to forever, you're overwhelmed and all
yeah,
that.
true.
Take a break, take a pause, and re-strategize. But
Yeah, I like the word take a break, but quit, bawo. Calm down. All right.
just speak to
I
yourself.
think
And
we already have a solid.
thank you, Mr. Ola. And Mr. So, Mr. Wale, please, Ola, please hold Mr. Wale on his trouser. That matter. We need to discuss some after.
Yeah. So the funny thing is, I think I reached out to Mr. Wale one time. I think he gave me an answer, but then we're still going to talk about it better afterwards. But then, I mean, we have to go. The time is already like 2 hours into the session. So thank you so much, everybody who is on the Space Talent, Benjamin, Unknown, Graham, Zurich Music, Amaka, the Prof. Um, Renewed Sam, and then our speaker, Mr. Oyinda, Mr. Wale, especially for you guys to stay with us, to this moment. It warms our heart. This is our first space, and the turnout is actually really beautiful, and it was a beautiful and session. So thank you so much. My name is Ola Oluwasanmi, and beyond being your host, I'm also the marketing and communication lead at Uvera Distro. Uvera is a distribution platform that has the capacity to distribute your song to about 150 stores on Audio Mac inclusive, and then Apple Music and other stores, even on TikTok, and everywhere you think you want your music to be, we could get your music there. And also we have a publishing arm of Uvera, which the main aim is to be able to protect your right to help you collect your royalty, to help you ensure that you get fair compensation for your creations, for your creativity. I mean to say. So, please, if you need a distribution company, you can always reach out to us. The beautiful thing about what we do at Uvera is that we are as plain, we are playing to default. So it's why there's nothing to hide. You need reports, you need data, you want to track your revenue online where you go to distribution company. So thank you so much, everybody. Hopefully we're going to do this again on Saturday, next week, Saturday. So thank you so much. Have a wonderful evening. All right, bye, guys.